been talking a lot lately about knives and knife culture in the true sense of ruralist enjoyment of knives. And these are two knives that I'm going to be using more and more and carrying more and more, and almost introducing and discussing with my friends and people that might have an interest in them, and trying to kind of do so in an upbeat and positive way, which helps to kind of reduce the stigma of what knives have become in modern Britain. So these two knives will be familiar to anybody with an interest in these things. So we have the Byrd Tern on the left, a non-locking EDC, that's everyday carry legal pocket knife. And we have the Mora 546, which I've just was just delivered this morning actually. And both of these, as objects in their own right, are just very nicely designed and finely manufactured. So the Byrd Tern, it's true that it's made in China, but it does have that lovely Spyderco heritage and some very nice details in terms of how the blade locks. So this kind of half lock position, that's a really nice feature, and it's just satisfying when you unfold and refold it. So everything about this has this kind of solid, high quality feel to it, kind of like a German car door opening and closing. It just has that satisfying tactile feel and that meaty sound of it locking and clicking into place. This is a really nice touch. The finger grooves, there's a proper name for these which I don't know what that is, but that little groove just really allows your finger to be fixed in there, and that's going to prevent the blade from accidentally closing on your fingers, which is always a concern with these non-locking foldable pocket knives that we've kind of been reduced to for everyday carry in the UK. The clip, it's nice and strong. I sometimes actually have this in meetings at work with just the clip visible, clipped into my portfolio. I think I mentioned that in a previous video. I'm getting blown away here. Where was I? So the Byrd Tern, that's a really great kind of starter knife for people who just want something they can carry on a day-to-day basis and be fully compliant with the law. That said, I would still have concerns having that on my person, let's say in any establishment where knives are a kind of worry. So for example, I would not bring that with me if I was to go out to a bar or a club where bouncers will be searching for these kinds of things. You have to have some common sense, and obviously I would never brandish this in public. The Mora 546, I'm actually going to put that back in its sheath because I am in a public place and I do have some slight concerns about making this video, which is kind of sad really. I don't think there's much more I can say about the technical features of Mora knives that hasn't already been said. Obviously the Scandinavian heritage, like most Scandinavian things, is really satisfying. It seems that the Scandinavians and also the Japanese have this kind of high quality heritage, especially when it comes to things like knives. and I suppose you could say cutlery in a way that other countries don't. And there's something kind of primordial about Mora knives. They kind of make you feel like you're about to just go and embark on a kind of rugged fishing expedition off the Swedish coast somewhere. Maybe that's just my imagination, but it's something it just kind of comes to me when I take it out of the sheath and feel that kind of handle lock into your hand. Speaking of which, the 546 has a solid plastic handle, but the shape is very satisfying and strong in your hand. It's a stainless steel blade, and as I say, all of this has been explained in a lot of detail by many other people, so there's not much more to say. But I mean, look at that's just a lovely tool. Door to door, this whole thing was delivered for something like under £8. And I think with objects like this, obviously we don't want to be gratuitous, but cost isn't the primary factor. There has to be a baseline quality and harmony of design that makes it worthwhile to have and use these objects on a very ordinary basis. Look at that. It's very nicely thought about and put together. So this is just the beginning of where I'm kind of getting into knife culture, and I'm hoping to just keep building and keep exploring these tools.